Let's compare my life to the lives of other writers. I want to complain about how certain writers were given opportunities and experiences I will never have because I'm too poor. Being a writer, I deserve the same life experiences. Now, I'm going to assume that the pair of writers I'm going to talk about actually experienced the things I am saying they did. There is only one or two of these things that I will list that I know for a fact they experienced. I don't know if they experienced everything I'm going to list, but I'm assuming they did, because they wrote this stuff into their fictional novels. In order to research the novel Mount Dragon, Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child, I'm assuming, will have toured a real-life laboratory that works with infectious diseases. I bet they actually experienced dressing up in one of those airtight rubber suits and taking a tour of a level 4 biohazard microbiology research facility where epidemiologists experiment with the deadliest viruses on Earth. That if these ever got out, humanity would be fucked. Just how I want it. Sounds very exciting. Don't you wish you could have experienced something like that? I don't get to. Why? Because I don't have the fucking money. Douglas Preston has worked in the American Museum of Natural History in New York. This is a fact, not an assumption. Now, I'm averse to any kind of work, but being able to tour the museum, and I don't mean the parts open to the public, but the inner workings, actually learning how the museum is run behind the scenes, might be fun. But again, I wouldn't have the money to do that. Douglas Preston has also traveled the New Mexican desert on horseback. Horseback riding through the desert appears constantly in his books. Again, sounds exciting. However, because piece of shit society will not let me be rich, I couldn't do something like that. They won't even let me be rich off fucking YouTube money. Just how fucking petty is that? So I'm supposed to rot in a trailer instead of experiencing life. To write Reliquary, I'm sure Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child have personally toured the secret tunnels and sewers beneath New York City. Again, very interesting and exciting, something I won't get to do, unless I become a hobo and go hide out in the tunnels after making my way to New York. I'm sure they have also visited amazing cave systems. Again, something I wouldn't get to do. The list of things just goes on and on. Of shit they've probably done that I won't get to do because people are fucking petty. And they won't even let me be rich off YouTube money. The Stromboli volcano, a small island off the north coast of Sicily in the Tyrrhenian Sea. This volcano has been erupting with continuous lava flows for over 2,000 years already. I'm sure in order to write about it in their book, they have vacationed there, took a ferry to the island, and hiked up to the volcano's summit. watching the lava flow. Again, very exciting, but you need money. They have also taken a transatlantic trip on an ocean liner, Queen Mary 2. Ocean liners still exist, apparently. Seems like it would be a unique experience. They have also visited the swamps and bayous of Louisiana. They have traveled to the Scottish moors to hunt elk. Now that would be a fun experience. They have also been on a hunting safari in Africa. I'm just assuming all this because these things appear in their books. Don't you wish your life was so full of experiences? Visiting a small particle accelerator facility as research for the novel Blasphemy? Vacationing in Brazil and Argentina? Skiing in Aspen? Why does this writer, Clive Cussler, get to own a whole collection of classic automobiles worth millions? Meanwhile, I don't get to do the simplest things. I have written about boys kissing girls in my books, without even having done that myself. How did society conspire to deny me everything? I deserve to have experiences, even if I'm too weak to work to pay for them. My stepdad is always behind on rent. See, here's how regular people think. I will work, then as rest and relaxation, I will fly to Italy and hike up the Stromboli volcano for fun. But because I am so weak and feeble, and need lots of rest to look like a teenager forever, for me the hike up the volcano would be considered work. Which means after flying on airplanes and hiking up and down the volcanic cone, I will need several days of rest where I do nothing. See, it's strange how what working people consider rest, I would consider work. So therefore, a job is actually hell, while a vacation is work. That's how feeble my body is. To put things in perspective, I have ridden long distance in a truck before, for 16 hours straight. Intermittently, I would doze off, just sleeping on and off the whole trip, sitting and sleeping. After arriving home, I felt exhausted the next day, which required 2 naps during the day and more sleep. My stepdad couldn't sleep the entire time. He was the driver. He had to stay awake except for a 2-hour nap in the middle of the drive. Then he was able to work the next day. Do you see the incredible contrast between how weak I am in comparison to the strength and stamina just a single average day in the modern world demands from you? A guy sleeps intermittently while riding in a truck. Then he is exhausted the next day from the trip and needs naps, even though he's just sitting in a soft chair all day. So how am I supposed to survive in this world? This is a very sobering example of how weak I am. People are such assholes. This bitch named Susan G. Komen has received so many donations that she could buy 1,000 copies of Destiny, the Taken King, for her kids or grandkids or whatever. People donated to this Susan G. Komen Foundation so much that this bitch could buy every video game on the market for her kids instantly without batting an eye, and not be any poorer, and not break the bank. Meanwhile, I have to struggle, and if I were to order the legendary edition of Destiny, I would be struck with buyer's guilt or buyer's remorse or whatever you call it. So why did assholes make life so easy for Susan G. Komen? They donate, and this Susan G. Komen bitch can afford mansions, exotic automobiles, boats, and personal aircraft. Meanwhile, I don't get shit and I suffer. What if I start dying of cancer suddenly, and look back and see that my life was empty and unfulfilled? I got nothing done, no rich experiences, not even Destiny the Taken King, and now I'm going to die of cancer. And I have to accept not having lived at all, while this Susan G. Komen bitch got everything. Actually, it's not Susan G. Komen. She died of breast cancer in 1980 at the age of 33. Right now it's her younger sister, Nancy Goodman Brinker, who is in charge of the Breast Cancer Charity Foundation. But regardless, you get my point. If people are upset by this, they shouldn't punish me. What they need to do is rewire their brains so that they are not upset by this commentary.